All right, guys, welcome back. You already know how we do. You guys know that we don't go slow. Okay, we go quick. All right, we get as much people as we can on here. And this is someone I met, and he is really awesome. He has so much insight. He's way farther in any of our spiritual journeys. Okay, his name is Pythagoras. Okay, he's a teacher. He does all of this, energy work and stuff like that. Do you also want to tell us about other things you do because you're really interesting?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I also teach meditation. I do quantum uh, coaching and all of that. You guys can follow me on my Instagram. So let's dive into the first topic, which is starseeds. And all this information really comes. It's like information that comes from like my own personal experience, as well as Vincent's. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, um, let's talk about how your experience started with you being a star seed. And yeah, let's start there from the beginning.
Okay, so for me, when I started my journey as a star seed, it was very, it was kind of hard. Like I always knew I was not from here. I always felt the energy of like, I'm not from here. I just didn't I always was the black sheep. And that's how most star seeds always feel. I always thought differently. I dressed differently. Everything was different about me. There was barely anything similar. And it was really hard for me to adjust and understand my power. Like I always thought it was a hindrance. I always treated it as a hindrance.
Right.
And then it took me a while to understand that it's really a gift. And so then when I started getting conscious, then I realized, whoa, I'm actually, my soul really could be not from here. And then I started to understand what's beyond our planet because my consciousness, my whole mindset was just on earth, what's going on here. And then when I started opening up, I was like, whoa, and I started seeing the truth really. And then that's when I started getting into my star seeds and all of that. And I was like, it's like I knew I was a star seed before I knew what a star seed was. And then that's when I started delving into Lyrans. If you guys don't know, from what I know so far, I'm a Lyran star seed. And as I started digging into it, I was really, the universe was really telling me, yeah, you're a Lyran. Because I would read ET books, especially on like the Lyrans. Like I remember we were talking about it, and the next page was Lyrans. And everything in it like aligned. It was like, yeah, they love astral projecting. They can astral project really far. I was like, that's me, you know what I'm saying? And all the stuff they were saying about Lyrans and then learning about their history, it all really resonated.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like with a lot of things that you said, I see myself reflected in them as well. Like even for me, one thing that does resonate with your story is that yeah, in the beginning, like you feel like it's a lot, it's a lot to
Yeah.
take in. And then you're also seeing society, and society is not creating any of these models or manuals on like how to be a star seed and how to navigate through that, because all we have is regular stuff of like how to put your kids into like a football team, which is not bad, but it's like normal stuff like that, so and now with the new generation of kids, like how they're like highly extrasensory, and like they're already like open up their abilities, psychic abilities. The new generation is really like where it's at, and even us creating all this content for you guys is to inspire you guys. And like we're here, and like
Yes.
we're all having our own experience as well, and it's about finding that community, finding other people too that like are also in that same, you know realm. In the beginning, maybe sometimes it feels like you're a little lonely. You're like, well, I have no friends, because you do start losing friends, like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people that had contracts with yourself to be a friend for a specific time, they can not longer be in your new universe, your new self, because they're not a vibrational match. So a lot of the times when we become awake, and we know about our starseed origin, we're having that remembrance of like our galactic history, and who we really
Yes.
are, you know. Like all of us are starseeds that always felt like we're not from here, you know, like we're always like the ones that are creating the new, breaking the old patterns, creating the new ones, you know.
And people that don't understand what a star seed is, it's basically a soul that is from, not from Earth. It's from a soul that has incarnated on many planets. So they've incarnated on many places in the cosmos and then have come here mostly to help out and gain experience and stuff like that. Some people I've heard also are just Earth stars, or just Earth seeds, they call them, people that are new souls and that have only incarnated on Earth. I thought that was an interesting concept too, because when you do look around, I mean, you can, if you are clairsentient, I should say that we're going to talk about that soon. But if you can really feel energy, you will understand the concept of, you'll be able to feel people's souls and kind of where they are from and their experiences. But yeah, there is a lot of star seeds out there, and if you think you are one, most likely you are one. If you feel it, like if it kind
Yeah,
of excites you to be from somewhere else, most likely you are a star
yeah, I
seed.
mean, it's just on how quantum physics works, you know. You have to be a vibrational match to some degree to certain information, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to receive that. In terms of like, even whoever is watching now, if you're having this, if this is presented into your reality right now, all these codes or this conscious conversation is in your reality about star seeds, is because you're a vibrational match to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it is, you know. You have to be a vibrational match to things in order for them to present into your reality.
Yes.
um I'm gonna go back into time, into the beginning of my starseed experience. And you know, just like you, I always felt like I was not from here. Even since a little kid, I was like, no, you know,
Nope.
I'm like, nope. You know. And I was already really, really like into everything that was alternative to what kids were into. I was into like different stuff, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember that for me, just, you know, being, I guess, seen as an outcast in society, for me, that was normal, you know. For me, that was just
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, you know, that's how I am, whatever, you know. Um, but I did get a lot of messages from my spirit guides during that time. And now looking in retrospect, looking back, I'm like, wow, my guides were always communicating with me and telling me, look, 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 you know. And when I first, uh, when the starseed information was presented to me, the very first, well, before that, actually, I learned more about, like, I was an empath. I already knew that, you know, I could
That
read
was me too.
people.
Yep.
Yeah, so I kind of had to get that code first.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, once that code was downloaded to me, I was like, okay. I mean, that was always there, but, you know, just kind of have an idea of validation of, okay, well, you do feel more than the average person, you know. I
Yes.
remember when I was young, I wouldn't look at people's eyes because I could read and feel their pain. I could see a
Oh.
lot of stuff. And even just being around them, you know, I would be like, and the, you know, the thing with me is that I would mirror that energy back and then they would feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning for me was kind of like a curse, you know, because I
Yeah.
was like, you know. But little by little, you know, once I started to do my own spiritual research, which I invite everyone to do your own spiritual research, because that's where you're going to remember your real authentic self. You know, when you uh go into that wormhole of information and then you connect the dots, that's where you really start to know who you are. And for me, when I got into the whole starseed information, I was like, this resonates in my heart, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And then I got a reading. I asked, I remember during that time, I asked my spiritual teacher, Teal Swan, and she told me one of my past lives. And one of my past lives, I was in Lyra. And that made a lot of sense, you know, completely, so much sense. Moving forward, um, you know, just knowing that, finally knowing that, okay, I'm not from here, then your mission kicks in, you know. You're like, I know why I'm here, you know. I'm
Yeah.
not plugged into the matrix, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And my whole mission of like uh guiding other people that were just recently plugging themselves out of the matrix was service that I was doing, and I'm still doing that. But and at the same time navigating my own, learning about my own self, learning about my own psychic abilities and all of that. So
Yeah.
it's still quite alive, every day waking up and all of that. But yeah, I mean, now to the present moment, I feel like um I'm always attracting all these other star seeds, because we just
Yeah.
attract each other. Once you really like you're there and you embody that as your truth and you know that it resonates in your heart, they just start popping up. I don't know where, and that's how it is going to
Mm,
be for a lot of you guys. But it does take you also to put yourself out there. It does take for you to be, in a way, open, open to communicate with other people, open to being in all these groups. It takes you to,
yes.
yeah, to connect.
Definitely, that's one thing we're looking for is vibrational matches in people. You know how many most star seeds will know this. You know how much people I've lost in friendships and stuff like I don't have any true friends that I could like. I have people I really like, but none that I could really go out and do things with and meditate together and watch a movie together. Most of my friends that are the most like the ones that I really like are, they're not really conscious. I'll still be like, yo, I dreamt that you're having a party. And they were like, what? I was talking about having a party yesterday. Right. And they were talking about that. And it's like that's a new gift I'm getting is like dreaming stuff. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I'll get that. And they're like, they're the friends that be like, oh my gosh, and talk about theirs too, like their experiences. They're more just friends in the matrix that I just keep near me and just, vibe with because there's nobody else. But as I started getting into, the community and finding people like you, then it's like, whoa, I'm actually finding people that I that are thinking like me with the same kind of intelligence, area as me and things like that. So that's one thing as a star seed is hard, is friendships. And that's one thing I want everybody to know because everybody I talk to that is like conscious or anything like that, they're always like, yeah, I have a hard time with friends. I have a hard time with friends. I'm like, yeah, me too. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's when you, but when the thing is, when you find someone, you really vibe with them. And I'm excited for that.
Yeah, yeah, because like I feel like all the friendships that when you're in a 5D community, the friendships that you're going to be making are going to be sacred. They're going to be special. They're
Yes.
not necessarily going to be like average friendships, like with other people that you can make in the matrix. Which is not less. But
Mm-hmm.
I do prefer to make friends with people that feed the consciousness and like that reflect that awareness, and like then people that I can vibe on another level of like, validations and confirmations about like, like what we're all learning, because that's so
Yeah.
we do come here to this reality to coexist and co-create, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that's one of the beautiful things about the 5D and like, being a star seed, in the beginning it's a little rough, because you're shedding a lot of layers too, and a lot of people end up not being a match to you anymore, because you got to make room. This one thing I always tell people: when you're losing friends in the beginning, it's actually your higher self clearing up that energy for better ones. Okay. For people that are
Mm-hmm.
going to respect you, for people that are going to meet you in another level, people that are going to meet your intellect, your self-awareness, yourself, your light, people that are going to be able to see that, and it takes time. I'll give you guys this metaphor of like the matrix, when Neo is like plugged in and he's just not plugged out and he's on that pod with like
Mm-hmm.
slime and he's like taking that deep breath, and then he gets unplugged and then he gets flushed down into this tunnel into the water, and then Morpheus and Trinity they pick him up from the water on this spaceship, right? Whatever. That metaphor I always give to people because that's how it is. Like you wake up and then you want your tribe to be there, you want friends, but you still got to do the work to get there, to go in that tunnel and body and get
Yeah.
picked up. You still takes time. It takes time for you to manifest that tribe, manifest those friends. And then,
Any struggles is going to lead you to,
oh,
everything.
yeah.
That is the main thing about having a spiritual journey, is understanding every struggle, every challenge. When you overcome it, it's there to lift you up,
Oh,
period.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's so connected. I love that you just said that, because oftentimes in the spiritual community, or just the waking 5D community, you know, there's so much healing and transmutation that we gotta do, and sometimes it could be a lot. And one of the misconceptions is that we're healing something, and at the same time, collectively, all the star seeds are healing the same thing, just in different ways. It's
Hmm.
presented in the reality differently. And that's
Yeah.
how we're learning. This is a school in here, and we're all learning together. So yeah, like the whole friendship part of it, it takes a while, to really um my guides did tell me that it does take a while, because you really are want to manifest people that are going to be so special and so sacred to yourself, that you gotta shed a lot of layers. You gotta shed a lot of energy, because these places are going to be the 5D community. They're fun, sacred places too. There's a lot of sensitive information,
Hmm.
to people having connections to ETs, to light beings, to angels, and all of that. And all of that is, it's for us to like respect, in honor. So that's why it takes a little while, because sometimes when we, in the beginning as a starseed, you get unplugged, and you yet had to discover that foundation. So it takes a while to build that foundation and be
And
like,
that's why it's the hardest. You definitely don't have a whole grip on everything.
mhm, yeah, it takes a while. It all
It
comes together.
And
um
if you're trying to figure out what type of star seed you are, definitely delve into it. Don't focus on, oh, where am I from? Or don't be one of those people that's like, oh, I'm not from Earth or whatever. Just, vibe. You're here for a reason. Okay. You're going to hear that all the time. But yes, you really are here for a reason. You planted yourself on Earth. Okay. So you need to understand that overall you are here as a human, okay, a soul as a human being, and you are sharing your experience as a soul from the stars in a human form. You see,
yes.
understand what I'm saying? So focus on, the spiritual journey and becoming higher vibrational, and just gaining knowledge. And then later on, as you meditate and everything, it will slowly come to, you'll start to understand where your starseed lineage is from. That's like, from me, I'm at the part where I'm like, okay, this is the one where I think I am from, because I was at the spot where I'm like, I looked at all of them and I was like, ooh, I don't know. And but I always looked at the Lyrans like with an eye like this. I was always like, but I never thought, oh, that could be it, until I started digging into it more. And then
Remembering, yes.
yes, and then all of that, and then all this stuff about Lyra started coming up everywhere, and I was like, oh, okay, that's my confirmation.
Yeah, and it's because like downloads, when your guides and your higher self really wants you to focus on some information that is going to be so vital for yourself, it will be manifested everywhere, and then you get all confirmations.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be like, uh-huh, this is it, and it's presented here, and then you meet this person, and they tell you, that's how it is. That really is how it is. So we really want to practice being conscious, and doing observation, and just being so open. you know I want to take you guys into one of the vital information that we have here on Earth when it comes to star seeds. One of the first pioneers in past life regressions was Dolores Cannon,
Yeah.
and Dolores Cannon did such great work on Earth. With past life regressions, and the interesting part is that she would get the past life regression, um, the average ones that was like, lives on Earth, and then at some point she started seeing these younger people that when she would put them in a trance through QHHT, she calls them the first wave of star seeds. So she started to notice that and document all this information. Now, um, she got really interested because she would always just get the people that would be like, yeah, I had a, when they would go into the subconscious, the person would have a life in ancient Egypt or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was really, really, for her, it got to a point where it was really ordinary. But when
Hmm.
all these people, this new wave of people that she started to do readings on, and they would come up with, they had a life in a different planet with a different body, not human,
Hmm.
and all these stories, and she got so interested. So she really was the one that started documenting. Dolores was really the one that started documenting all this starseed information, and like one after the other, and she was amazed. And then she came up with the whole indigo children, then we have the, the crystal children, the rainbow children, and all of that. So she labeled them as waves of souls that were coming here to earth to reincarnate and help humanity ascend. So pretty much, they had to reincarnate a certain time for all of them to be ready in a way through the ascension of a 5D, right?
Hmm.
Now, um, moving forward, all her work was documented, right? Really, really amazing work. If you guys want to check, she has so many books that she wrote uh on actually all her recordings, because she would record all her sessions. So, when she was doing the past life regression, she would record. And I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of stories that they're like amazing,
Yeah.
amazing stories.
Yo, I heard so much bear ones. Like my friend, who actually astral projects, and she astral projected into a ship, and it was actually her, like her star family.
Mm,
And she talks about how, you guys probably seen this because I still have to post it, but she was like, yeah, I went into the ship and they were a star family, and they were telling her, oh yeah, you wanted to incarnate on Earth. And they were like, she was like, what do you mean? They were like, yeah, we tried to stop you, but you just wanted to incarnate on Earth so bad. You had a whole binder of places that you wanted to incarnate on, and you're doing all this research. And they pulled out the binder and showed her. And right when she said that, I was like, that sounds like her. That sounds like something she would do. And she's like, yeah, but I thought it was interesting, but like I was mad because I'm like, why would I want to incarnate to this planet? And she was getting mad, and she's like, they're like, well, you wanted to learn stuff, you wanted to help the humans and stuff like that. So again, everybody has their own mission, and I feel like you could fully embody it and understand it when you, again, I feel like the huge answer is through astral projection if you learn how to do it, and the akashic records, like you said, will help you definitely with all of this. But that again, that's another further part of your evolution. So figuring out where you are from is going to be a result of all the other things and places you've been researching. So when you get into ETs and astral projection and crystals, all of a sudden it will come to you. It'll definitely come to you. And and when you focus on your psychic abilities, I think that's one of the coolest parts of um consciousness, is developing abilities that you never, that were just like movies, the stuff you would hear in the movies, all of a sudden you're getting. Did you want to talk about that too? Tell us about your abilities.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, all the psychic abilities, like everyone has all this in our DNA. And when we're here, some of them choose to activate those, and some people choose not to activate those. Um, and I feel like it happens naturally and organically. Your guides will
Mm-hmm.
will present that information to yourself, and it's all about that guiding system all the time, and like one of the illusion here on earth is that we're here and we think we're here by ourselves, but no, there's this big group of beings, spirit guides there, that are actually working with you at all times. Like, you don't just get pushed into earth, birthed into earth, and you're like, you bye, and like,
Yeah.
actually so I'll take you guys through that information. You actually go through a big process to even make it here. It's this time of volunteer. Like, you actually volunteer, and um you get picked. So it's not like everyone that wants to volunteer gets sent out into earth. When you're a star seed, you
Hmm.
um you open the invitation, and then somehow, if you get picked, you do get to volunteer in here. But it really it's all about, if you really want to do it, if you say yes. I mean, just the fact of volunteering, you're already, want to be part of it, and you do agree to the contract of forgetting everything, remembering everything again, because your yourself gets wiped out,
And
but
that's the whole point of the Starseed program. Is the Starseed program, you incarnate on planets that are less evolved and advanced. One is Earth. So we happen to be on Earth. And now because we are on Earth, you don't look at, oh, there could be other planets like ours. But again, it's going to be the same thing when if you join the Starseed
oh,
program and then they're like, oh, you're going to Terra or Earth, you're going to this planet, you're going to that one, you're going to C53. If
yes,
you go to C53, there may be blue beings or something that are less evolved and are just like Earth in like a Stone Age. And but
yes.
their mindset there is, oh, like they don't have the mindset of there's other planets like ours because they're just like us. So you got to go to Earth, but there are hundreds of planets just like Earth with star seeds on them doing what we're doing here. And I think
And
that's the most fascinating fact ever.
it is fascinating, and just the fact that you, like, a lot of the starseeds are here. This is not your first mission. Like, you already helped another planet ascend into a higher dimension, and you were there helping, guiding people
You're a
away.
warrior,
Like,
bro.
you already did this,
Yes.
and you forgot. And that's why it's so easy to, like, for myself, like, tapping into my shaman abilities, going into the eighth chakra, going into the ninth, the 10th, and all of that. And, like, the higher chakras, all of that is already within myself. I mean, it's just yet to for me to remember, take little by little, and
Mm-hmm.
us try, like, we're here now, but we've been traveling, like, even when I did my reading, my akashic starseed origin, like, there's definitely a lot of planets that I, was doing the same thing, volunteering and showing and teaching. I always had this mission of, like, going into different planets. And I am an Arcturian starseed, by the way. And Arcturians actually um are not physical beings. They're vibrational beings. They're energy. And some of them do choose to reincarnate, like myself, and in another planets, but they're a different consciousness from the Lyra consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
They in our other video, I did explain how they were assigned to oversee the whole process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, um when I first got into the whole when I first started to have contact with the Arcturians, that was when I was 26. And I was meditating, right? And they were already presented to me, like, I was getting all this information here and there. And then, who are the Arcturians? And I was just, for some of you, it might be like, who are the Syrians? Who are the Pleiadians? That's your higher self, your guides, putting you into the information that you're meant to receive. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, during that time, it was the Arcturians, and I did an Arcturian meditation. And after 20 minutes, Vincent, I was just blown away, because that was the first time I ever felt love, unconditional love, ever. It was a type of love that I've never experienced in my life, ever. And it
Wow.
was such a galactic love. And I remember I was meditating and I could feel when I called them in, I could feel it. And I could literally feel like someone was putting their palms on my palms. And I just started crying. I was like crying and crying and crying for like almost 10 minutes, 15 minutes straight because I was remembering and shedding. I was like, finally made the connection. I'm finally making the connection to my galactic family, my spirit guides. So that day was really, it was a catalyst for my life, you know, having that connection to the Arcturians. And then right after that, just more things started to evolve, you know. I started to get more information on and on and on. And even till this day, till this day, present time, um one of the one of the beautiful akashic pioneers, akashic readers here on earth, her name is Devi Solaris, and she's been on Gaia. She's also an Arcturian starseed. uh Teal Swan, uh in on YouTube, she does a lot of shadow work and she teaches all that stuff. She's also an Arcturian starseed.
Hmm.
So this whole teaching aspect of me, I understood where it was coming from because Arcturians were trained in psychotherapy, in psychology, and I love all that stuff. Like it's just
Yeah.
like so easy to me. Like I love that intellect, all that stuff. And you know, for me, in my experience, that hit home, you know, having that connection to them. And yeah, you know, like even when I had an akashic reader read me, right? And he was doing a reading on me. He was like, whoa, like all these Arcturians are just walking back and forth in your akashic room in the records. He's like, it's busy in here with a lot of blue beans. They're just walking back and forth. He's like, you definitely work with a lot of Arcturians. And that, mind you, I never even told him about this information. So I
Yeah.
did get a lot of confirmations and validations. And yeah, you know, like finding your history and all of that, it takes time, you know. It takes time. There's a lot of people that do past life regressions to, you know, your akashic galactic history and origin as a star seed. I am one of the ones that do that as well. I can go into people's records and meet their guides and go into their origin, where they originate their soul, you know, one of the
I
best.
would love for you to do that with me.
Yeah,
That'd be crazy.
that would be awesome too. Yeah, we could definitely do that. And you know what, Vincent, is so amazing and so beautiful because I don't know anything until I'm there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I my mind might have a little like clue, you know, or maybe my mind is like thinking, oh well, you know what? I to the level where I am, I don't pay attention to my mind and my ego anymore when it comes to that because I know it's sacred information. Once I'm there, I'm just like observing the information and I'm just like, okay, well, this spirit guide is coming forward. He's your spirit guide. Looks like this, you know, and that now they take me to a past life and here this person is this. So it's so amazing. Um,
Wow.
but yeah, you know, like um us star seeds, we are not better than anyone else here on Earth. You know, on the Matrix, you know, just because you're a star seed doesn't make you better than anyone that is like sleepwalking. No,
If anything, you could say that we're just more evolved souls, if you want to put it that way, more advanced souls, but that still doesn't make us better. It just makes us on a different level.
you know, I would say we're in a different stage of awareness.
Okay. That's a better way to put it. Even better.
Yeah, we're all in different stages of awareness because, like I said earlier, like even people that are like they this is the thing. A lot of people here on earth will not wake up because they made contracts, they volunteered to not wake up. They
Oh,
were the
seriously?
absolutely, they were the ones that during that time they were like, okay, well, who's the one that's not going to wake up because they needed that polarity is needed for us to wake up. even us starseeds that made the choice, because it is a choice to wake up, um because you have to go through the preparation, the whole program of preparation of remembering who you were, remembering your psychic abilities, you
Yep.
remember everything, and
Yeah.
that's a lot of work. That's like a 24/7 work, because when you go to sleep, you're also remembering things. You're traveling in the dream world,
Yeah.
um but yeah, there's a lot of people here on earth that are gonna, I mean, even just the whole thing with COVID, a lot of souls that have passed away, they had contracts to unfortunately not make it into the 5D, and you know head out, and everything is in divine order in terms of like everyone has their own contract when they come here, when they want to leave, and that's pretty much it, and not everyone is meant to wake up, not everyone is meant to wake up. Another thing that one thing before we go into psychic abilities,
Hmm.
the last thing I want to say about this is that um us star seeds, we have to unite, because the 5D community is not a competition, oh well, I am clairvoyant and you're not, no, no,
Hmm.
no, no. The matrix is designed to go up, up the ladder, and then like competition, and then
Yeah.
you do everything you have to do to get there, the 5D community is a heart-based community, and there, it's about us, practicing unconditional love, compassion, respect, you know to all the other star seeds, because we're all going through, everyone has their own suffering, internal suffering, and I just want to say like that we gotta practice, we gotta respect, even if some star seeds get different downloads, and they,
Yeah.
maybe they want to believe in this or whatever, we gotta understand that we can still be and observe that information from a place of no judgment, and then just try to practice that unity, because at the end of the day we're all in this together, you know
100%. We really do have to unite. And I'm seeing people are slowly starting to come together. And I like when I do lives and stuff like that. And I see people really coming together. That's like my favorite thing in the world. But yeah, as star seeds as well, people that have just think differently, when we come together, we'll definitely 100% be more powerful. I mean, that should be common sense. But yeah,
yeah,
definitely we have to come together.
yeah, all this really does come from my heart, and also I'm also seeing all these other spiritual teachers that are, teaching the same thing. Is like we do have a choice, we have a choice on how to communicate, and you know in the beginning when you wake up as a star seed, like you're yet to remember everything, and I know there's a lot of like you're coming from a place of like you don't trust the matrix anymore, but then you
Yeah.
also got to open your heart and learn how to trust new people, because those new people might be another star seeds, or other people, just light workers, people in the spiritual community that genuinely want to do good. So it's like I don't recommend any starseed walking the earth, with all these walls. You know, your heart is your truest alignment. Your biggest protection. An open heart is always, you know why? Because it's that connection to source energy, that light that emanating from your heart. There you don't need any protection, because
And you
you're
know what's a problem is people don't trust. I was gonna talk about this on my TikTok too. Is that people there's a lack of trust where everybody's like, don't trust no one, don't trust no one. And I was
bro.
gonna talk about that and stop with that because it's really I get it, okay, but that comes from a state of pain, right? It's like people doing wrong to you. But at one point, you have to start trusting people. So you're gonna have to be the first one to put their hand out, and then if they do and you could feel energy, you should be able to start feeling energy to understand, if I put my hand out, will this person take advantage of that or whatever. But overall, you have to start trusting people and just trusting your gut and your vibe and knowing
Yeah,
which people but for the average person, trust your gut. But overall, you should just understand that there has to be trust in some places, and showing love and affection is not weakness, it's actually strength. So you need to get over, because we see that a lot in the community too. Everybody wants to
Yes.
be hard, everybody wants to be a thug, right? But that's not going to get you anywhere. That's really just keeping you on a low state.
You just hit it on point. And yes, absolutely. Like even one of like the workshop that I did with my star sister Aria, like the heart center portal, was all about also telling people in the community that like it's okay to communicate from love. It's okay to connect your heart chakra through your blue throat chakra and express that in the 5D. 5D community is all about that, know those limitations of the matrix of like trust nobody, you know,
Yep.
like, oh, like, no, all of that is trauma based. Like there has to be a time for you to also, for us to heal, move on, implement that new pattern, and that's it. And maybe in that hot second, what that old pattern wants to be like, take over you, implement the new pattern from awareness, and yeah, there's yet so much to discover, and we're gonna move on into psychic
Psychic
ability.
abilities, let's
Yes.
go.
So I want to invite you, tell me, what is your journey with all these psychic abilities?
Okay, so I started out as an empath. So I always just grew up as an empath, and but I never really understood it. It was just like I just wanted everybody to be happy, and I was always the kid and person to make games and to make sure everybody had fun. And so I focused on just making sure everybody was happy, even though I pushed my happy, even if it was like, okay, they were happy but I wasn't, I was okay with that. And I could feel people's, and I was always told when I was young, oh yeah, you're an empath, but I didn't really understand. It was just always in the back of my mind. And even through high school is when it got even worse, is when I could really feel and understand people, but I couldn't understand them in the way that was like for example, I'd walk in the hall and be like, I see a girl and I'd be like, bruh, she's going through a lot, bro. Like even just when you combine the energy and the way she walked and the way she talked, I was like, bro, she's going through a lot. It has to be something with her dad or something like that. And then I find out later that yeah, her dad, is abusive or something like that. And I was like, I have to, right when that still started happening, I was like, I have to start trusting energy more. And like, for example, this is at the end of high school. I think I graduated, and I would start as a joke, I'd feel people's hands and like tell their future. So I held their hand and I just like hold it, and I would be like, I remember the first time it happened, I was like, bro, why am I seeing green? Like I'm seeing forest. And they were like, bro, I'm trying to go to the Amazon rainforest. That's like the best place I want to go. And I was like, whoa, next, right? And I go to the next person, and I was like, one girl was like, do you have a bedroom that has pink walls and you have a desk under the window and this and that, and you have a grandfather that looks like this? And she was like, yo, you're bear psychic, you're creepy. And so I just do that a lot. But it started out just as a joke, and then I started to realize, oh shoot, like I'm really getting spot on and reading people's energies. And so now when I go out, I'm very conscious, and it's gotten very strong now since I've been meditating. I could look in people's eyes and feel who they are
Mm-hmm.
and understand their whole being. And even then, like the one girl today, or it was a few weeks ago, I would always tell people, I'm like, she's got a very mean girl energy, like she's gonna turn on you or something. And they were all like, but no, she's nice, she's nice. And I was like, okay, well, I'm starting to trust energy now, so I'm a back up, right? And I never liked her energy. And then I find out later that she's sneaky, that she's a snake, and that she does this and that to people. And I was like, I'll tell you, I'm like, trust energy, bro, trust energy. And where I'm at now is I try to fully embody that, and I can feel people's emotions and everything they go. I feel their whole being. And I'm starting to get used to that now, and I incorporate it in my everyday life. So it's like nothing. It's just like, yeah, it's me. And even now, I'm starting to have dreams of things like I was telling in the other episode, where the one where I was dreaming that this my friend having a party and like some crazy stuff happened at the party. And then she messages me, or I message her, and I was like, "Are you thinking about having a party or something?" She's like, "Yeah, I was just talking about having a party last night," and like stuff like that. And or I'd have a dream. Oh, this is my last story, but my I had a dream about, a ghost in the house like attacking me. And remember, my dreams are so vivid. Sometimes most of the time I'm like, that was an astral projection. And so, they're very vivid, where this ghost was attacking me. It's in the house following me around. And then this dog comes. My friend has a dog who comes to our house. It's a little dog, and it would just bark at nothing. It was just barking at air. Nothing. And as spiritual people, we know, right? But so my mom was like, okay, we're gonna sage the house because it's probably we call them duppy. We have a duppy in our house. So I started just like right from there. I was like, Mom, well, I've been having a dream of a ghost in the house and stuff like that. And then I started to realize. So she was like, oh yeah, okay, there's definitely one in the house. We need to get rid of it. And that goes along with the footsteps out here behind me sometimes throughout the days and stuff. But right when I've been having these dreams, which has been lately, I'm like, okay, well, these dreams are like warning me and trying to tell me things. And so now I'm just trying to figure out how. And this has been coming out, this ability came about since I was meditating. So if anybody wants to take anything from this, is that meditation will really change your game, especially since
Absolutely.
my third eye is opening too. Anytime I meditate, this thing, it feels like someone's pushing right here. Right. And so I get that little warning.
Absolutely. You couldn't say it any better, honestly. Like meditation is gonna be the number one spiritual tool for any starseed, light worker, whatever, like because the meditation is that pathway that will take you, and then that would allow you to download,
Yeah.
to download new source code,
Yep.
to download new light activations. And and meditation is a practice, like meditation, it really really is a practice, because every day you have that opportunity to try it. And there's going to be some days that your meditations are going to be great. There's going to be days that your meditation is going to take you out of that darkness. you know it's going to
Mhm.
make you feel better. But just like implementing, if you're a starseed and you're not meditating, you're
There's a
robbing
problem.
yourself. Yes, that is a problem. You're robbing yourself. And it's okay, it's okay to like not know so much. That's why that's why there's a lot of people like us guiding, and showing, like, I am the physical manifestation that meditation works, and why it's a choice. Every day I have that choice. I don't remember the last time that I didn't meditate in the last what 8 years or whatever. um and it's like the way that I get to download, the way I get to practice more of my psychic abilities,
Mhm.
even even with the whole thing of being clairvoyant, that just recently kicked in,
How
again.
has that been for you?
Yeah, I guess I mean, I've been always clairsentient. Like I just like know things,
Mhm.
I just, when I meet people, their spirit guides, they know that I'm listening, they know that I'm aware and conscious, so they're like, tell her this, tell her tell him this. And I'm like, in the beginning, me personally, I never liked those like gypsies that would come to you, be like, you're gonna die in 3 days. No, I'm just making a joke. Like, I never liked that, because I was like, whoa, like, I felt like it was too much.
Till.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but it's like, so I never like wanted to be like that, just like tell people, I guess my friends, yeah, I feel comfortable, be like, tell them things, whatever. But I, like, I'm always having that open channel, and I can just meet someone and their guides are already communicating with me,
Mhm.
and they communicate with me, and when I'm having that conversation with the person, I'm already giving them that message, you
Mhm.
know and they're like, well, what do you think, what I should do, whatever. And then, the information that I'm telling you, it's not necessarily coming from what I would want the person to do, is coming from the spirit guys. I'm just like directing the channel and delivering the message. You know what I mean? That's the beautiful thing about being able to just know, because you're knowing the information that it's right in front of you. So
Yes.
that's a great way. That's a beautiful thing. But some of you star seeds, some of you light workers are here to activate different psychic abilities. It doesn't just have to. If you're not clairvoyant, doesn't mean you're less.
Mm-hmm.
For me, last year was like the year that um actually once I started going into the records, that's my guides did a lot of work in the records. I download a lot of activated a lot of that, and now like my visuals, it's like so surreal, so vivid. My clear audience too kicked in recently as well. um and that's just another level for me, honestly, because when I do these readings in the records, like now I'm able to actually hear the voice sometimes of the
Oh.
person's guides. Yeah. And Vincent, it's really specific because some of them speak really, really interesting. Some of them are like, they talk really
Oh.
slow. And then some of them are like really like their intellect and intelligence is just like bam. They just like,
Mhm.
they're like so assertive. They're like, she needs to do this, whatever, what. Yeah. And not all the time I hear it, sometimes. But
Mhm.
that's just one of the recent psychic abilities.
That just reminds me of the girl who was astral projecting, and she had the people pulling her out of. I was
Yeah.
talking about this in my live earlier. The beings were pulling her out of her body, and she's like screaming, and they're in the background saying, "Oh my gosh, she's too scared. She's not gonna do this." And the other one's like, "Be patient. She has to. She has to." So it's like people think that these beings are gonna be all godly, and they have personalities. Their personalities, and they have some of them will be like, oh, she's too scared, I can't do this. Other ones will be like, it's okay, give her time. So it depends on the person, the personality. I think that's cool too, to understand that you know everybody, no matter how ascended you get, you will have a personality and a way of being that you live like, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's
We
really cool.
Well, what they taught me is that they do have a personality, but they don't have our mind and ego's judgment.
Mm,
Yeah. So they
okay.
might be like, yeah, they do have conversations such as like, oh, she's not waking up. What are we
Mm-hmm.
gonna do? Because they are waiting for the person to wake up, for them to have that connection and start working in a whole
Yeah.
team. Like we're only the ones that were pushed into this physical reality. We're doing the animation, but
Mm-hmm.
they also volunteer, and they were raising their hand, and they were like, yes, I will be the one that will guide you through your astral projection, so you're okay. I will be
Mm-hmm.
the one that's going to help you with this specific psychic ability, or I'm the one that already incarnated at some point, so I have that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I mean, but the thing is, like, once we're downloading that information and then it's processed through our mind, then we give attachments such as like, well, like they're being this way or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
The misconception is that higher vibrational beings, even beings in the akashic, they are full of unconditional love, because they don't have our brain and they don't have a reptilian mind. If anything, when we're struggling, they're like the ones, just like you said earlier, they're like the ones like, she's gonna be okay, just give her time.
Mm-hmm.
um what Teal Swan, the spiritual catalyst, in one of her stories, she was saying that her guides were like so exhausted that she was just not waking up. They were actually going to just like give up on her. And they, yeah, they were like, because she did encounter a lot of trauma. She has a big documentary on that. When she
Mm-hmm.
was young, she had a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse and all this stuff, and it got to a degree that she was just in deep darkness, that she was just not waking up. And her guides were, they were aware. They send out like, I would say 8 of them from that specific group, and
Mm-hmm.
the other ones in different countries were already waking up, but she wasn't waking up. So they
Mm-hmm.
were in that last bit where like she's not gonna wake up, and then she did indeed wake up. So they're always, like, they're your guides. They're always there, to guide you. And meditation is definitely going to be the number one spiritual tool to communicate with them. But even just in day-to-day basis, you can
Mm-hmm.
just do the calling and say like, come into my space. I mean, they're already there anyway, but you just become more aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me say that if you I never started with meditation. I thought meditation was a waste of time,
Mhm.
corny, and I didn't do it. Even though I started getting more conscious, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to start meditating. And like I was like, okay, I was recognizing and being aware that I'm gonna have to start doing this. And I was like, oh, but I don't want to. And I was kind of cheesed. But then I started getting into it. I was like, wow, that was actually really peaceful. Like, I'm gonna try that
Yes.
again. And I kept going. And now it's the point where I have to and want to meditate. Like meditating is like a highlight of my day, right? It's like fully connecting with everything. I don't know. It's just really you're being in tune with the universe fully. So
Yeah.
if you want to develop your, psychic abilities, or you're like, what are mine? Do some research on psychic abilities a little bit and figure out what types there are. Like when you hear clairvoyance and all that, research about it and then start meditating and start really develop it. You can even command, like as you meditate, you can say, I command to, to be open to energy or
Yes.
whatever. And it will slowly pick up as you're being open to it, right? If you are solely open
Mhm.
to it.
Yeah, I mean, we do have the ninth chakra. That's our chakra of command. So when we use that chakra, we command things, and it's just like an instant, like it happens in your meditation. The eighth chakra is it's the chakra that is connected to the records, to the akashic records, is the shaman within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's all about practice, you know. It's about practice and building a sense of discipline. Um, like every day there's an opportunities. It's about that sense of discipline in like, meditation. Like I teach meditation. I instruct
Mm-hmm.
people how to meditate, and like I've met so many different people that like there's some people that can't meditate by just doing stillness. Some people uh feel more comfortable doing guided meditation. Some people feel more comfortable doing yoga, movement meditation. There's different kinds for every person. We're also different, and everyone's individual experience is unique and is valid. So it really is
Mm-hmm.
about diving into that, finding your. I do believe that concentration of the mind, which is meditation and just putting your mind into concentration, I think that's really powerful, extremely powerful, beyond powerful. There's never been in my life, Vincent, that ever that let's say I was going through like some really tough time,
Mm-hmm.
some darkness, some shadow, reintegrating, whatever. There's never been a time that I didn't feel better after meditating, ever. Every single time, if I'm going through some stuff, I know I have to meditate to regulate my nervous system, to alchemize energy, to let go, to invite and open up, myself into, to quantum jump into the next step of.
That's what I use it for too, especially if I'm in a really bad, state where, lately my challenge has been fighting fears, and fears of mostly the fears are fears of myself and my capabilities. That's been my ultimate fear. And I would have to meditate and, let myself know that I have control and I would have to like stuff like that. Like anytime I was in a bad, especially in a low vibration, if I come back from somewhere and I'm drained, I'll meditate, and then all of a sudden I got a blast of energy. So you could meditation. It's just like you said, it's literally the key to everything. It's the
It
gateway
is.
to everything. You're gonna have to. There's no way around it, and you will want to when you delve into it, because it's like when you meditate, it's like you're traveling within yourself and you're traveling the universe. Just even in your imagination, it's like your consciousness is. I don't want to call it a form of astral projection, but it's kind of like you are traveling in other areas, right? So
Yeah.
definitely research about
It's
that for
when we're
yourself.
consciously connecting to our higher self, the best version of ourself. That's when our higher self goes like, okay, this is the next best step, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's that awareness. Meditation is that awareness, because life on earth, life is still going to go. There's going to be polarity, there's going to be contrast, there's going to be things to heal, there's going to be things to let go. But awareness, I'll put it this way: your awareness of your anger is not feeling angry. Your awareness of your sadness is not feeling sad. Your awareness of your pain is not feeling pain. There is that part of you, that your awareness, that can hold all these emotions of the physical reality, all these emotions of the self, of the 3D perspective, without becoming any of that. So there's a part of all of us within ourselves, at our higher self, that can hold all these energies without becoming any of that. And that's the beauty of becoming aware, practicing conscious awareness, meditating. Because when you're in that state of meditation, you know that if your ego and your mind is going through some shit, some fear, you'll be okay. Because
Mm-hmm.
like your awareness, when you're in that state of awareness, your awareness is so spacious, that can hold little tiny bits of your ego in your mind without becoming that. Like your awareness is huge, so big. That's another way. Like when you were when you created that grid with the crystals, Vincent, and you created that pyramid, and then you saw this woman, right? That I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I would say that it was one of your guides. So how she was like big, really big.
Mm-hmm.
Awareness is that big. It's so huge, and our little minds and like emotions are such tiny vibrations, temporary of the body, fears and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
It's so
yeah,
true.
yeah, meditation is always going to be the answer for sure.
I think if you guys are at the beginning of your stage, and you are just learning about this stuff, it's definitely cool to hear other people's stories, because again, we both were in your position, okay? And we are just even I thought it was interesting. I thought about this the other night about how I used to watch all these conscious creators and stuff like this that were on YouTube, Ryan Grouper, all these people, and then it's like I've become one, and it's like I still flabber. I wake up sometimes, I'm like, wow, I'm really one of these conscious creators that I've been watching, and now you guys are watching me like how I was watching them, and it's like, okay, well, now that I have that awareness, I have to remind you guys that you're only at the beginning. Okay, take your time, you know dig within yourself, and if you are struggling, I get some people that message me are struggling with meditation, and I say, don't try and push your thoughts away. Just like when you get negative thoughts, it's how you react to them. So when you give
Yes.
energy to the thoughts you want, those thoughts are the ones that are going to create your energy. And again, your
Yes.
energies will also manifest, right? So it's not your thoughts
Yes.
itself that manifest, it is your energy that manifests.
Yeah.
So remember that, and don't worry if you can't stay focused. Oh my gosh. When I was starting meditation, it was hard. It was annoying, but then it
It's
started getting easier. And then I was like, okay. But I always liked it. Like after I started getting to it, I always liked it. I was just like, I had to be conscious. Okay, shoot. It's hard for me now, but I'm getting into it. It's gonna get better. And it did, to the point where I'll meditate straight for 10 minutes, and it's not like nothing comes in my mind. There'll be stuff outside that come into your mind, but
Yeah.
I disengage from them and focus on what I'm doing.
Yes,
Right.
it's all about it. I agree completely. It's all about directing your focus, and like in breathing that prana, like just like
Mm-hmm.
taking that deep breath and coming back into the centeredness, like not all the time during your meditation, you're going to be like in bliss, but maybe that 1 minute you will be in bliss. And there you have actually um you found a channel, that frequency that's fully connected to source and your higher self. So you know how I put it, Vincent, it's like a radio,
Mm-hmm.
those old radios, we're turning the signal. And when we're meditating, as we turn the signal, maybe when we turn, there's all these negative thoughts there, but that's not the frequency that we're trying to tap into. But even like, you don't have to hate it. You don't have to hate those negative thoughts. Just let them be. You keep going, you keep concentrating, go
Yes.
that channel until you really align yourself, and all of that. So yeah.
I like that tip. Do you have any more tips for people, as we finish up, for people that, are trying to meditate? And, as a professional, someone who teaches this, what is your tip that you have for people that want to do it and want to use this to their best benefit, but are struggling?
Yes. Practice every day, build up a sense of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if you have a day in the beginning of your stage, maybe if you have like a day or two that you to meditate, it's okay. But try to build up a sense of discipline, a sense of routine, because we do got to understand that like and the mind takes 21 days to develop a new habit. So
Oh.
in if you're just brand new to meditation, in like, let's say you're meditating 5 days and then you skip 2 or 3 days, then your mind is still, it didn't do the 21 days to build up a new habit.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're meditating, I would say meditate straight out for 21 days. See how your life will change. See how you're going to
Yes.
feel much better. You as a star seed or a light worker or just anyone, you're going to be able to cope with life better. You're going to be, your energy is going to be more cleansed. You're going to be able to let go and reset. After
Mm-hmm.
21 days, look back and see, is this really for me? And honestly, people that I've taught and I've guided into meditation, after those 21 days, they didn't stop. Why? Because, like, we are divine beings. We are multidimensional beings, and meditation, has been practiced forever, and like, these ancient eras, why were they practicing meditation? Because it works, because it's a
Yes.
way to connect to source energy, to the universe, to speak to the universe.
Anytime I think about meditating, I get excited. So, and I was at a point where I was like, ew, gross, get away from me. So that if that's anything, that should tell all you guys to keep going. And then when you see the benefits of it, you're gonna be like, oh, I can't wait to go home and meditate right now. You're gonna get
Yes.
really excited.
One of the last thing I do want to share is that sometimes when we are struggling and we're all over the place, we tend to poison other people with our energy, you
Mm,
know, and the 5D, and like all these places, like it's they're sacred places, and I'm not saying that you gotta be in a state of perfection. There's no such thing. But becoming aware is becoming aware of like your energy, what you want to give to the world, what's your choice, you know what I mean?
mhm.
It's like, I'm not high vibrational every single day, that's impossible. There's days that there's a lot of things presented in my reality, and there I am struggling with my ego, my mind, but I know I have a choice. I know I can direct and rise up into gratitude. I know I can go into the deep shadows, integrate whatever I have to integrate, and still make that choice of vibrate gratitude and be in that energy. And I know when I'm in that energy, I'm there, I'm a vibrational match to psychic abilities. There I'm a
Mhm.
match to making new friends that are doing all this. So
It's all about
All of-
vibrational match and understanding yourself. As soon as you guys understand yourself, you're gonna understand the universe, and you are going to just understand this whole existence as a whole. So 100%, I want to thank you for inviting me onto this show. And I want to thank all you guys for listening. And I hope you guys took something away from this, because overall, if I heard this conversation when I was, younger, things
yes,
would have really, I would have been
help
picking
me.
up
Yes.
way quicker, right? So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and let us know what if you guys want to see us do more episodes and other topics. Write it down in the comments. And yeah, this was a great opportunity. And everyone stay high. And when you can't stay high, give yourself unconditional love, because you can always rise up to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
100%.